A morning fire in Danville leads to the death of the homeowner. Good evening, I'm Victor Mwangi.
And I'm Josh Caridio. The fire on Bruce Badger Memorial Highway ended in unusually tragic circumstances. Reporter Robert Lemna and photographer Aidan Perchette were at the scene.
6 towns responded to Danville's call for help.
Calls came in, I'd say right around 9:30, somewhere in that area.
When fire crews arrived, they found a home engulfed in flames. It took the better part of an hour and a half to put the flames out. The house was destroyed.
I consider the house probably a total loss, yes.
Indeed, many watching the fire felt the same. A web search indicates that a Paul McKintrick lives at the address. A state fire investigator was on scene, but the source of the fire is unknown at this point. Robert Lemna, News 7, Danville.
Faith in Action holds a free food share twice a month. News 7's Andrew Clark met a volunteer who loves to give back to the community.
Volunteers are always needed for events such as the Faith in Action food drive. Tanya Langmaid has been a volunteer with Faith in Action for about 2 years and has enjoyed helping others.
Is there something you like for chips that maybe I can find for you?
What Tanya enjoys the most about volunteering is the people.
I didn't think I would, but I do. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Elderly people come through and tell you stories about living in Vermont or what they did when they were young.
Tanya loves giving back to the community.
Then I get to come here and it's like, oh, I feel so good. The rest of the day, you're almost like, you know, euphoric. You got a high off it.
Andrew Clark, News 7, Lyndonville. Governor Phil Scott was in St. Johnsbury this morning, speaking about problems currently facing the state.
But what's happening is we're losing, our demographics are shifting, we're getting older, but we're losing the workforce. When you look at the average age of a construction worker in Vermont, it's about 56 years old, and that's a problem.
Another concern is the cost of education in the state.
When you think about our challenges, $1.6 billion we spend for education in this state, and we're educating 86,000 kids, and it averages out to about $19,000 per student.
Governor Scott even took questions about national issues, including the proposed Trump tariff on lumber from Canada.
Because of national priorities, we've got a more difficult road to hoe in terms of getting new housing.
Our action plan on softwood starts with fighting the unfounded claims of the U.S. lumber production lobby and the unwarranted and unfair duties placed on Canadian lumber products.
As I've said, I think Canada holds an incredible promise for us.
So we're trying to be the Kingdom Brewery for the kingdom. You know, really don't have plans of expanding outside the kingdom.
Today's Brewery Day in Vermont and the state is looking to educate brewers on environmental issues that may happen.
We're doing some proactive outreach to educate small brewers about what wastewater regulations exist in the state of Vermont and how breweries fall into that.
The St. J. Brewery owner Scott Solomson considers himself to be lucky with his brewery and Act 250.
Really, I did not understand, what it entailed, but I actually got lucky because I had already signed the lease before I'd even heard of this act, and we happened to be part of St. Johnsbury's water system.
Solomson considers himself a lifelong restaurateur. St. J. Brewery does brew their own beer sight on scene, as you can see behind me, but what's even more special is you can see it when you're eating your food in the regular dining room. Solomson says he got his start in brewing with some friends.
I got into home brewing, then I started participating with friends that were starting up startup breweries, and it's just pretty much always been, I like to move forward all the time and learn new parts of my craft. And
Burke had their longest season in almost a decade, thanks in part to the amount of natural snow they received this winter, as well as snowmaking improvements.
The season was great. I mean, we had some perfectly timed snowstorms that really drove reservations, in the hotel, and also drove skier day visits, for day tickets. We've seen record, skier days here, which is amazing.
The season was the first ski season since the hotel opened, which presented many challenges.
we were learning a lot this year, both with, the hotel being introduced and, with the record snowfall and the amount of snow that we got at once sometimes, the challenges with parking and moving people from point A to B, meaning from the hotel down to the base lodge and back and forth. So I think there was a lot to learn from this season. Exactly the type of season that we needed to get right back on track. So overall, I'd give this season an A+.
Tyler Simpson, News 7, Burke.
More improvements are in the works for the banks of the Patuxent River.
The St. Johnsbury Rotary Club is planning to put a nature sanctuary on an 8-acre piece of land that they got from the town. The sanctuary will likely be completed by the end of the summer, and the piece of land it will sit on will be only reachable by kayak and footbridge.
So it will bring people into town, and we're hoping that connecting it with the downtown, that people will visit downtown or be interested enough in St. Johnsbury to say, well, let me pull up over here and I can go on the other trail. And
not guilty, and told the judge how terrified he'd been during the incident.
Well, we came in there, he emptied the whole bags. He accused me putting the items in there, and
Did he ask your permission to search your bag?
no, he didn't. He's right there, went straight, right, put the bag on the table, and went through the bag, and he emptied all the bag.
Its third annual Winter Carnival today and tomorrow. Events include parades, ice skating, contra dancing, and even a horse-drawn sleigh ride. Pete the horse has been giving rides for the past 3 years, but this year he gets his own handmade sleigh rides. Sleigh rides will begin at 10 tomorrow morning, and Tom, Pete's owner, isn't the only one getting in the Winter Carnival. People from all over Peacham are contributing to the festival.
We're a town of maybe 700 people, and I bet you we've got 100 people with their hands in this somehow, but it's great.
The driver of the truck involved in a collision on Route 114 on Thursday is now speaking out. He says he had no place to go and no time to react when the car in front of him went off the road, up the embankment, and flipped over onto its roof. Linden State College student Tom Lanza says he tried to stop but slid into the overturned car.
And all of a sudden, I just see his truck veer. I think he hit a snow patch or maybe some ice, and it drifted him into the snowbank. And his 94 Dodge just ended up doing flips, somersaults right in the middle of the road.
They say a great gift for that special someone on Valentine's Day is something made by hand. The St. Johnsbury's Athenaeum Youth Center has just that, handmade arts and crafts for Valentine's. Kids from the area were able to make these crafts for free. Everything from tape roses to little paper hearts were being made.
Well, I have to say, the duct tape flower with the wallet, I would have never thought to do that. I thought, and it was well done.